You don't know how to study. I have so many medical students on my For You page who are making videos about either failing boards or being tortured by getting into medical school and like the studying, and they're just absolutely shell shocked. When you get to medical school, especially if you're a neurodivergent or you start studying for boards, you all of a sudden realize that you have no idea how to study. And then figuring out how to study becomes a very, very torturous process. I want to go over how to study for boards. Because if you're anything like me, if you're a pen and paper, take notes, have to write it down, or I'm not going to remember it, want to know everything, feel like you need to know everything. So all of a sudden you have no idea how to, you're not ready for practice questions because you have to know everything before you start doing practice questions. You're sucking at your practice questions. Let me tell you how I hacked this. I don't need to write anything down until you start doing practice questions, okay? I learned that the hard way. I'd probably be taking all these beautiful notes and then do my practice questions like I was going to remember anything that I wrote down. If you are not remembering what you wrote down, your notes are so irrelevant, okay? Here's what you're going to do. You are going to sit down every single day and you are going to do small sets of questions on timed mode with new and used. Why? That's automatically spaced repetition, so you're going to continue seeing new and used questions. Usually these question banks are set up so that the used ones in your set are from recent sets. It's not like you're going to see them from forever ago. Also, while you're taking the questions, if you're seeing ones that are used, marked, or incorrect, or whatever it may be, you're more likely to get it right quicker, which makes doing the question sets less overwhelming, which makes doing them easier. Your scores are going to be a little bit higher, and we'll get to that later. It doesn't matter. Your scores are going to be a little bit higher. If nothing else, it's going to boost your confidence and make you more willing to continue to do more. So get the set done. I think I usually did like 25, max 30. On some days I did more, but you do it on timed mode because we're not going to sit there on tutor mode. We're not going to sit there on untimed mode and dilly-dally and scroll our phone. We're going to do it on timed mode. We're going to get it done. Once you do that, you're going to start reviewing your questions. And this is where you're going to start thinking, oh, I need to write down every single explanation. I need to write down the vignette. I need to take a screenshot. I need to put it on an Anki card. No. The initial process is to take out white paper, just blank white paper. I used the like interchangeable notebook things. This is level 2. My color code is that yellow was an important part of the stem. It was like a clue in the stem. And then neon green was the answer. I kept that consistent. We didn't need 50 colors. We don't need to do it by system. The boards are random. Okay. You just need to know what was important to look for in the question stem and then what the answer was. So yellow and neon green. And then I did the same in my first aid, but we'll get into that later. I would only write little notes on the answer choice that I chose and the correct answer choice. Did not worry about writing stuff down for all of the other answer choices because I was going to do new and used questions, so I knew I would see them again. And if I needed to, I could go add a couple extra notes from the other parts. Really important is we're not going to write down word for word what's in the question explanation. That's not going to help you. You need to just briefly write it down in shorthand so that when you're looking at it later, you're having to active recall like what was being asked, what was being said. And my personal favorite thing that changed the game for me was like writing to myself. Like I would be like, why do you keep thinking this is EBV? Like I'll show you some examples, but there's code here that I can get into. It's the most simple code that I could have ever come up with. So this helped me because it allowed me to continue writing things down. It was a lot more efficient than trying to take all the notes, do it all the new ones every single time. And I would just add to this as I went. Good example, Alport syndrome. And then later when I was reviewing, I was like Alfort because that's the mnemonic for it. So you can just add those little notes. There's another one where you can clearly see that like I went back over it multiple times as I was reviewing at different points and added more things. Now, when you're studying these, we're not going to just take these and then never look at them again. At the end of the day, you're going to take the couple of note sheets that you have from the random practice questions that you did. You're going to read the one. You're going to walk away to a whiteboard and you're going to active recall everything that was on that board or on that paper. You can put a check mark at the top every time you do that so you know how many times you've reviewed what's on that sheet. Okay. For the topics that you just can't get straight, the ones that are very nice in a table, that's when you can sit down and make a pretty note sheet just to like actually be able to enjoy your study time. Those, when I did that, I used to do it in a big, just blank sketchbook from, the Walmart or the Target. So what do we have in here? The neuroendocrine tumors, because that's obviously one that they like frequently try and confuse. And I used to try and put things in rainbow order because I'm very visual. I could remember where on the page each one was. And then just brief notes underneath, lots of room to add more information if I needed to. The cranial. I'll show you some of like the nicer notes that I would take. Okay, leukemias, macular degeneration. I think this was for a rotation. Optic neuritis, neuro-ophthalmology, miscellaneous. Oh, the lung cancers. You know that they are always asking these on every level of boards. All of these are ripped out because most of these topics you see again and again and again on all the boards. I hope you're going to be able to hear this well. Hyperthyroidism. Do you know how often this was added to and used? Like I made the note sheet once and then I would always be adding to it. Thyroid storm on the back, followed by hypothyroidism, lupus, a favorite. You don't need to know everything from every resource about lupus. All you need to know is what questions they ask you. This is when I was like trying to even further summarize those note sheets. Counter strain, the neurocutaneous disorders, the glycogen storage diseases. Again, very big on like spatial and color so that I could kind of picture which one was where. Almost storage diseases, jaundice. I'm going to do that, put it in a small area thing with the leukemias and lymphomas. It is like the practice sheet for what I was going to write down as fast as I could when we got in there. Antibiotics. Information from the first aid GI chapter if I was seeing them on practice questions, the strokes, GI pathology, the visual field questions. You guys get the point, okay? What questions do you have on making your studying more efficient or learning how to better study the opportunistic? I have so many, guys. I have so much that we could go over. Okay, love you. Bye.